All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of DC's Real Talk. Just want to thank you for your continued support and helping me to continue to do this podcast. I would love for you to give it a listen, a download, a like, and a review. And finally, if you have anybody that you would like for me to try and get on my podcast, please let me know. And then also, if you'd like to be on the podcast, please let me know that as well. And as always, I'm always open to suggestions on how I can make this better. And so please feel free to send over constructive criticism. And then also just wanted to point out, today's the first episode that I'm also going to be putting on our live channel on YouTube, DC's Real Talk. Look it up, give it a view, give it a like. And with that being said, today's guest, one of my very dear buddies, David Dale.
Yes, sir.
And he was nice enough to come and be on my first one on the channel. And just want to say thank you.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this whole podcast endeavor evolves for you. I think it'll be a good one for you.
Yeah, it should be fun. And
yeah, it's exciting.
For those of you that don't know David Dale, him and I have been buddies now for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself a little bit.
Yeah. So David Dale, DC and I met through the CrossFit world. We kind of decided, the beginning of classes we were at a CrossFit League Summit that we kind of hit it off, and it was one of those. It was like, dude, we probably need to hang out outside of the gym. Like, we have a lot of fun in the gym, and we were jacking around and BS with each other. So we thought, yeah, let's hang out, and just became good friends over the process of having fun in a sucky position playing, doing CrossFit. So yeah, it kind of evolved to that. I think I was the first person that you went to a CrossFit event with.
That's right.
On that.
Yeah.
Even though it was controversial.
Yeah.
It was fun. I actually ran
fun.
across a picture of that the other day.
I did too, actually.
Did you?
Had a beard game going.
Do you remember what our shirt said?
Yeah, what would Froning do?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, so just since he touched on that, we did a CrossFit comp, and it was him and I, and then our buddy Chris.
Yeah.
And we got to the final event, and there was another team that had a pretty decent lead.
Chris McCullough.
Yeah, Chris McClagan.
Yeah.
And there was another team that had a pretty decent lead, and they basically took a vote on, whoever won the last event, did they win the whole thing? And everybody voted yes, because it wasn't close. And the team that was winning, which was actually some of our friends also, said basically, sure, we'll do that.
From the same gym.
Yeah, from the same gym, because they'd been beating everybody. And
Regina.
We beat them in the in the last workout, and they were super mad. We took all those pictures up like on the podium, and they're all mad because they're like, we still had more points overall.
Yeah,
like, but you didn't win.
Yeah, totally won that one. Yeah, that was really good. Regina is like she's uber competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you and I were just like, whatever, man. Like, we're having a good time. She's like, no, there's no way we won this. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, no, we've that's kind of how we met and started hanging out. And just kind of grew a relationship from there. So yeah,
had multiple trips down to the lake.
That
used to be pretty fun, and
had some stories from the lake that trying to sink the boat a couple of times, overcrowded on the. Apparently, you can sink a tri-tune. Didn't know that. We found that out.
You can do it twice, actually.
Yeah, 2 times.
Yeah.
So I think that's the second person I just almost was on a boat with and sunk.
Mm-hmm.
Were you on the one with CJ and I?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, like the first 2 or 3 times that I was on a boat with CJ, the boat almost sank. And it's maybe this isn't the best boating partner.
No, yeah. Well, each one of our favorite, neither one's really boat a whole lot. So it's
no.
Okay, well, yeah, sure. So you can't have, 15 people on a boat with 2,000 pounds of coolers.
Yeah, apparently that doesn't happen. And then on 4th of July,
the
waves are 8 40 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. So no, but other than that, that's pretty much what I do. I'm an insurance broker by trade, building a business in out kind of in East Grand Valley, east of the city anyways. But soon, probably the next year or 2, I'm buying out my partnership, and then I'll end up owning that outright.
That's cool. Now you're gonna have to work more. Like, you can't get up at noon and be done by 2.
No, probably gonna have to put in some more hours, but got a lot of really good things going on with that. So bringing on some new people and get some infrastructure built out with the business, and just trying to figure out how to, basically grow. That's the biggest thing. We've kind of just been, I tell people in my office, it's been like a fist fight with one hand tied behind your back. It's one of those where, just the different mindsets. You got a guy that's kind of on his way out, and I'm, up and coming and bringing it, selling a lot of business, writing a lot of business, getting a lot of people, excited about just even like the back end, like our Google page, and just getting people really, focused on what combined insurance does. So that's been pretty cool. I'm on the Boys and Girls Club. I do a charity, not really, I guess it's considered a charity. So, we service, underprivileged kids in the city that, mom and dad, if dad's there, most of the time he's not. But, mom's working 2 jobs, they see the uncle's got a pocket full of 20s, trying to figure out how to, keep them in school, keep them, where they have a place to go, eat food. They provide meals in the summertime. They provide meals 3 times a day. So
Wow.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Where's that at?
They've got places all over. So they've got the Wagner down off of, off Jackson. It's down. I mean, every place is pretty much in low income areas. So, I mean, it's either, Spanish population or African American, but they've got it figured out where they find really low income areas, people that are really in need, and they plant these centers, and then it gives them a place to kind of escape, gives kids, and it just cultivates a better city at the end of the day. So I've been doing that. We jumped on that probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I was in a chair position where did like membership and development.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I just kind of stepped down from that because it just got to where it was too much, but I donate quite a bit to them every year. And was really involved with that whole process of just kind of getting it, where it needed to be, as far as, they do like an event every year. It's called, it's surrounded by the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
So basically everybody, puts on their bow ties and their hats, and we all get together and you sell tickets to it. And there's memorabilia. Put a bunch of memorabilia out, people come up and they do like an auction, and they have like ring toss, for wine bottles and whatnot. All the money goes back to the kids. And I think we've gotten over the past, I want to say 2.5 years, we've got nearly a little over 100,000 in endowment that goes towards, kid scholarships. So, there's a youth of the year every year where there's a kid that comes up, we see a kid that's like excelling, in whatever field that may be. And we, put them on spotlight, and, they'll get some money towards scholarships. So it's a really, really cool deal. And, when you go into these clubs and these, you see these kids, like they don't have the same chances that you and I have. And they need somebody to look up to, and they need somebody that, like I said, maybe dad's not there, maybe mom's working 2 or 3 jobs, so she's not there much. So they have the ability to be at these clubs all the time. And it's just it's a really cool thing. So
and what was the name of that club?
Boys and Girls Club. Yep. It's all over. There's tons of states that it's in, but Kansas City chapter is what we're part of. So pretty neat stuff.
You do anything with kids with special needs anymore?
So that was ran through Legacy Church over here in Lee Summit, but no, that was a night to remember with Kip. And he was a pastor, the campus pastor. I don't believe he's a campus pastor anymore. So he moved from that church with the Hillsong. So now we're at Hillsong in North Kansas City, which has been great. But no, that was a fun one too. So yeah, you got to deal, it's kind of the same thing that Tim Tebow's foundation he puts on. I think his is Night to Shine. Yeah,
Night to Shine,
I believe.
Yeah. So one of the things, like he just said, is there was a really cool event where it was for kids that had special needs, and they threw them a prom. And so for everybody, we had like a red carpet. So when every kid got there, they basically got treated like a celebrity.
Yeah.
And then everybody danced with them, and they played their kind of music. And that was awesome. Did that for 2 years, or at least I did with you.
Yeah.
For 2 years. And that was a really cool experience.
Yeah. Super cool. I mean, the kids, you get everybody lined up, and they come down a red carpet, and you got people on the side, in bleachers, and they're screaming and yelling. The kids are just like, just totally, floored by there's people actually out there excited for them to be there. And then they get to go in, there's a DJ, and they dance and they eat and have a good time. A lot of times these kids, which I found out more kind of just being involved, but they have dances like once a month, and they'll go out and they'll do stuff like that. Yeah. So they have outlets where they can get out and do stuff like that. But it's really neat. It takes a lot of people to get that kicked off. I mean, I want to say there's like, probably 200 guests at the end of that deal. And I don't know if they're still doing it. I think they did the 2 years ago, and I was in it 2 years ago, and I wasn't in it last year. So I think maybe with COVID, it just shut down. Yeah. So
and one of the things that was neat about that is when you got there, you got a card with like your kid of the night. So that way you made sure that they had fun.
Yeah.
And the first year I did it, my kid's name was Elliot.
Yeah.
And this kid was super cool.
Baxter. Baxter and Elliot.
Yeah. And he had one dance move, but he absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And Dave and I would like point at girls and be like, she would love to see your dance move. And he'd go over and do it. And he would come back and we'd be like, how'd it go, man? He'd be like, I killed it. I killed it. Like he was so proud and so happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was a really cool dude.
Those are, it's fun that, you know, you get to see kids that, again, probably don't have much of a social life. So, you know, just us being there and kind of giving them thumbs up, high fives, and, you know, that goes a long ways in somebody's life. So, you know, it's glad that, you know, I'm glad that we were able to be a part of that. So,
yeah, you mentioned COVID. How's that affected the insurance business?
I haven't noticed one bit, to be honest with you. No, I mean, we've grown leaps and bounds.
Now, what kind of
since COVID
insurance do you
started.
sell?
So pretty much any type of insurance. So, I mean, you could do, you know, I mean, we go from home and auto to business insurance. We just wrote a large contractor in Texas, 80 employees, you know. Basically, we do general liability, work comp, you know, package. We're doing a lot of apartments right now. So big apartment buildings in the city, outside the city, Arizona, Colorado. So, you know, just kind of wherever we feel like, you know, I've been doing it since 2006. This is, you know, I've gotten down pat the needs that people have, you know, as far as like where I see gaps in other brokers. So I've been able to step in, look at policies and base policies off of prior experience, you know, of what they've had with their broker and things that they've done, and being able to, you know, not just, you know, give them advice, but also just structure a better plan that makes it cheaper for them. So, you know, I've kind of gotten in pretty close with a good buddy of mine that's an attorney, and having that background of kind of, you know, what attorneys look for when they go for loss, it helps be able to sell a policy too, because you can kind of talk to them and just be like, hey man, I think like this is a big gap in coverage for you. I think there's something that we can do to be able to, you know, mitigate a future loss by doing, you know, XYZ, whatever that may be. So, you know, a lot of things, we're seeing a lot of like crime go on right now, and a lot of cyber attacks. So it's stuff that people don't really know about, or even, you know, it registers, but you'd be surprised how much malicious activity goes out there online. So, you know, ransomware, malware. Yeah. I mean, so there's just tons of stuff that people don't think about that we can, you know, kind of put a dollar sign to, and just say, hey, this is for this amount of money, we can get this done for you, you know? So some people see value in it, some people don't. But
now, would you say a majority of your money is made from selling policies, or like when someone like me gets a refund and then you just keep it?
I typically just like to keep the refunds, because that seems to make the most sense. It's also illegal. So no, the running joke between you and I is that every time we move policies around, that I keep the refund, which doesn't actually happen. What actually happens, it goes back to Clark if he keeps it.
I literally got an email one time. Dave switched my policy and it saved me a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And I got an email that the money was, you know, I was going to get refunded a certain amount, and it was actually on one of my dad's properties, but somehow it got sent to me. And so I've always gave Dave crap about how he keeps all my refunds.
Yeah.
He's always like, I don't keep your money. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. Suspect, jury's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's funny.
Okay. So how'd you get into insurance then?
So actually I worked for my dad back when I was probably, I don't know, I was maybe 18, 19. And, you know, I wasn't doing much at all. And my mom worked for corporate office of Allstate. So she had her advisor at the time, which was also an Allstate agent, but he was also a financial advisor, had a CP license or whatever, or a CFP. And he just said, hey man, have you ever thought about being an insurance agent? And I was like, no, not at all. Like, you know, I don't really have any drive to be an insurance agent, which at the time I was like literally sitting in my dad's basement. Like I already worked for him, and, you know, just, it didn't work out very well. Him and I just kind of were, you know, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians kind of thing. And, you know, I could just tell I needed to do something different. So I was like, man, no, not really. So he's like, go get your license and I'll see if I can get you a job with Allstate. So got my license, got on with Allstate, and just, you know, I could tell that you're handicapped when you only have one company to sell through, you know. And I'm a brokerage, so I work through, I've got 25 companies or something like that at my disposal. And so, you know, just got to the point where, you know, I said, let's, you know, so with Allstate for 6 months, and then called Jeff up and was like, hey man, I know you're opening your own brokerage. Like, what if I just come over and work with you? So we partnered up, and, you know, the rest is history.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a good move. It's, you know, and I'm passionate about it. It's fun. You know, I enjoy it. You know, I like saving people money. It's a rush. you get a lot of, you get, it's just, there's always something going on. Like in the insurance game, you literally learn something new every single day. I mean, there's so much, I mean, by the time you're done with it, the policies are all written by attorneys anyways. So you kind of feel like, by reading these policies, you almost feel like you're more of like an attorney than anything else. Just you give advice on how to, mitigate loss. And so I just kind of found my calling. And, I think just working towards trying to figure out how to help people is.
Have you had a super cool policy or case or anything like that really sticks out? I mean, obviously you don't have to tell us who it is or whatnot, but is there like a massive loss that somebody's taken, but because of a policy you helped them write, they got righted?
Yeah, so we write the haunted houses.
Okay.
In the Edge and the Beast and Macabre Cinema, which I don't believe Macabre's even open anymore, but just because it's hard to staff. But yeah, that's really cool. And that guy was paying a lot of money in insurance, and so he was with a reputable broker. I'm not going to say who it is, but he was with a big time broker in the area, and just to kind of. It was one of those deals, and he's a real savvy, like kind of good old boy, kind of country boy.
Talking about money.
Yeah. So just sitting down with him, he's like, yeah, man, sure. Good. Yeah, you can write my insurance. I've been with this guy for 20 years, one of those deals. He's like, well, I'll let you look at it. If you're about the 25th guy that's coming after me trying to get my insurance, but sure. And so I just kind of brought him I just worked hard at it and just brought him a different angle on where I think we could add value. And I actually brought my buddy James in on that one. So I got a good friend of mine that works for Jay Gallagher, which is public, I think second largest publicly traded insurance company and brokerage in the world. So they're huge. And he's worked for, major insurance companies pretty much his whole career. And, I just said, hey man, I think I got a pretty good opportunity. You want to help me with this? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'll come look at it. So he got me in contact with a brokerage that was like, yeah, hey, I think we can make this happen. So saved the guy like 40 grand on the policy.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was super happy, and just, we've just evolved, and, he, at this point now, just kind of grown a really cool relationship. And it's, I mean, like last year I took over all of his property insurance. So he's got a bunch of property in the West Bottoms, and took over all the property. And so for a Christmas gift, I got him a gun with a laser, and he was
that's cool.
He was all pumped up. He's like, man, this is so awesome. This is the best gift I've ever gotten from anybody, let alone an insurance agent. He's just a really simple guy, but super cool, like a naturalist, so I think that's probably one of the coolest policies that I've written, just because we became really good friends, and he trusts me with, all this stuff. And it's been just a lot of people try to, when they go down to the haunted houses, they always want to look to sue him. Like he gets demand letters constantly.
Oh, I bet.
Just because we got, I don't know, 25,000 people that, go through the haunted houses over the course of a few months. I mean, maybe more than that. Some nights, some weekends, there's 5,000 or 8,000 a weekend. Well, you probably only got maybe 8 weekends, I guess.
Yeah.
So depending on the year, if weather makes a huge difference. But if they got bad weather, they don't, they lose a lot of business. But yeah, just that whole deal was really neat. So, we go to lunch all the time and just BS, and he bounces stuff off of me, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. He's a wild man, but yeah, we have a good time. Cool. So yeah, that's been a fun one.
Now, do you guys offer anything else other than just insurance? Like I know a lot of insurance brokers have like annuities and stuff like that. Do you guys deal with that at all?
No, I mean, not really. You can kind of get yourself in trouble if you want to be a jack of all trades. So I refer everything out. So like, if it's like, like building a 401k, we refer it to Brent Usry. So Brent's the guy with Northwestern Mutual. They've got a great platform, a great program, way better than I can offer. And he's a professional. Yeah, really I just sent him that stuff. I mean, you work there, you know how it is. So
yeah, that was one of my former coworkers that I introduced Dave to, and they worked together for a while.
We've become good friends, So we've done. I was in his wedding, and we do deals back and forth. He sent me deals on certain deals where it's like some of my biggest clients. So it's been a good relationship for sure. I
actually had a buddy last week or maybe the week before that texted me that he was at some church event, and you and Usry were there.
That was Saturday. Yeah. So it was at Hillsong. It was men's breakfast.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Kyle?
Kyle Van Busker.
Yeah,
he's a real estate agent.
Well, yeah, I recognized him, and I'm like, man, I recognize you from somewhere. And he's like, yeah, your face looks familiar. And he's like, oh, I know you are. He's like, do you have another name by chance? And I was like, yeah, Double D. He's like, oh yeah. Well, in my phone it says Double D's nuts. I was like, okay. I was like, that must be something DC told you. Probably. But yeah, no. So we chit chatted for a while, and I guess he knew Brent too. So
so he he worked with us at Northwestern Mutual
Okay.
for like 3 weeks.
Mm,
And then he's like, yeah, this ain't
that's
for
what
me.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough gig.
Yeah, it can be. And he didn't like the whole cold calling and all that. And actually he loved real estate. So he was my roommate in college. And even then he was telling me, I got to find a normal job so that I can do real estate.
Right.
And it's like, well, why don't you just do real estate out of the gate, And
Yeah.
he wasn't real comfortable with like commission only, I don't
Yeah,
think.
it's tough.
And
It's a tough
so,
one.
but yeah, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm here with Double D." And
Yeah, he's cool. We chatted up quite a bit. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is like, I think what I want people to take away is just the way that I connect.
Mhm.
Like I know so many people in different realms, whether it be, with an attorney or, whether it be, in the financial world or business owners or, landlords, whatever the case may be. I know a lot of people. And I think just having that ability and having that out there where people is like, hey, I think he probably knows somebody that can connect. I get that a lot. So that's kind of my squeeze, is just more than anything, not so much just insurance, it's just being like a connector for people.
Mhm.
So which has been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
Now
like
you
that.
doing anything with real estate? Speaking of real estate, I know there for a while you had a rental property or two. Or
Yeah, I've got 4 properties besides my house, and then looking at an 8-plex. I'm trying to get into
That's
8-plex.
cool.
Yeah, it's being rehabbed right now. So
Mhm.
I hooked up with a couple girls out of
Nice.
yeah, well, no, hooked up with a couple of real estate agents, Lutz Investments
Mhm.
out of Overland Park, and they crush me. They send so much stuff. I mean, they send me an absolute barrel of insurance. But in the meantime, I'm like, hey, you got to take care of your insurance guy. Like, you got to find me some property, because the funny thing about like big brokers, like when you're a big real estate broker, they buy the best deals, so they see the best deals come across the table and they're making money hand over fist and they get them all. So I'm like, you guys got to get me in on some of these deals, man.
Come on, man.
Like I see all these properties you guys are buying and I'm like, there's got to be some, save me one, like I can't
Let me
afford
get my
most
feet
of it.
wet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm constantly like, yeah, no, we'll get you one. Just be patient. I'm like, all right. So yeah, we're just kind of working on that right now, but yeah, so it's been good. Yeah. It's been really
Do you listen to Bigger Pockets podcast by any chance?
No.
So they got a guy on there named Brandon Turner,
Okay.
and you actually kind of look like him.
Do I?
Yeah.
Better
But,
looking, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
But no, he literally just left that podcast.
Nice.
And he got brought on, and it's a fascinating podcast. But he talks to people like, if you have zero money but you want to do real estate, here's ways to achieve it. Or if you have 10 properties and you want 100, here's different ways to do it. Super fascinating guy.
Yeah.
And he ended up buying part of the company like as he was there at this podcast. It's called Bigger Pockets, and he's wrote 3 or 4 books. Fantastic, super interesting guy, awesome guy.
Bigger Pockets.
And he literally just left it like a month ago. And he said the reason why he left was he now is a 50-50 partner in Bigger Pockets, but nobody knows that he's not Bigger Pockets by himself. Because he's like, anybody that talks about Bigger Pockets, they're like, okay, Brandon Turner. And he's like, yeah, but I'm just one of the people at this podcast.
Oh, right.
And so he took a sabbatical, and basically his wife was like, how long could you stay away? And he's like, honestly, I could stay away forever. I've got all my rental properties and, all that. And
that's the goal.
So she asked him, well, would you want to sell Bigger Pockets? And he's like, yeah, ultimately, because he's built it up. It's got a couple hundred employees. Like it's not just some little wee podcast. I mean, he's built a legit company through it. And he met with an advisor, and the guy basically told him, he's like, dude, right now, Bigger Pockets, the sole value of it is Brandon Turner.
Sure.
So like, if you leave right now, you're not going to sell that company for a while, because everybody's just going to look at it like Brandon Turner left. What the heck is left of Bigger Pockets? And so he left, and then he's going to behind the scenes help them continue to build it so they can ultimately sell it. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those that, with you saying you had the 4 properties, and then looking at an 8-plex, I mean, he's got all his website, he's got all kinds of like calculations. Sure. So if you want to know how much you need to put money down, but it's really neat.
No, that's cool. I mean, I quasi kind of somewhat follow Grant Cardone. Mm-hmm. I mean, he kind of gets a little bit in the weeds. I mean, not really in the weeds. Just, I don't know. I think he's really trying to sell a seat to his conventions, his 10X conventions, 10X. Which is fine. But man, he has really built an empire with property.
Just got a new Gulfstream.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Dude, I mean, the guy just crushes it. I try to take a little bit of his advice and, but he's big about really trying to scale and not, if you can try to get after the bigger properties, those are the properties to buy. So, I mean, I just want to try to get there, sooner than later, but at the same time, I don't want to overextend myself. So I just want to be, I've gotten to where pretty much, I think the only real property I still own is the one in Lake Winnebago.
Mhm.
So everything else is paid for. So just use that money, leverage it, take it and roll it onto new stuff. So, I mean, that's, I haven't even really been able to tap into that yet. So that's kind of the goal. I mean, richest people in the world get rich by leveraging what
For
they
sure.
have, so that's kind of the biggest thing.
I actually heard a quote one time that said let me think of what it was. If you want to get rich, use somebody else's money.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
I mean, the leverage.
Yeah, I mean, use the bank,
Yeah.
so
You look at especially right now, the way
Yeah.
they're basically giving away money to
Mhm.
anybody that asks.
Yeah, they'll loan you up to 80% of the property value. So, which is, got it paid off. It's a pretty good chunk, especially now. So it gets appraised, maybe, bought a property in like 2017, it was worth 80 grand. Now it's worth 180. Well, that's a pretty big nut. You can go ahead and bust that out and use that for, the next down
Oh,
payment.
for sure.
Use that, and then you never come out of pocket with money. You just continue to roll that money one right after another on a new property. So, the hindsight was I started out really small with just a $25,000 rental, and now it's worth whatever 65 or 70 in lease some or in Independence. But the deal was just instead of going out and buying a new car, I was like, I'll just buy a house. It makes more sense. It's $650 a month. It's been $650 a month forever, and had that for 8 years. So it's just that passive income. That's going to end up being my retirement. So the goal is to be 25, 30 properties. Try to make 20 grand a month, something like that. So you can just easy, it's just mailbox money.
Yeah.
That's the goal. So hopefully it gets bigger than that, but that's kind of the bottom slate. It's where I'd like to be. So,
You doing anything else other than insurance and real estate? I know you did that one debt thing there for a while.
the debt roll down.
Yeah. Something like that.
No. So I still participate in that, but the guy that I was hooked up with on that, I ended up just kind of parting ways with him. He just kind of ended up being kind of a shyster. But no, as far as investors go, my
Crypto?
wife's
Doing anything crypto?
yeah, still doing crypto. Still got some crypto. Kind of got beat up there in the first wing that went through. That one kind of sucked,
Yeah.
but just tried to, the crypto is a wave of the future. That's what I think a lot of people miss. You get your old timers like, what's the backing? What's the behind? What's going on? Like, why do we need crypto? And what, there's no real value to crypto. And it's like, the value is it's not centralized. It's all decentralized. So there's coins out there. You could get through weeds to try to tell you what coins are which, but the point is that I don't need a bank to send you money.
Right.
So that's what people don't understand. And then also the immutable ledger, so everything's set up and it can't be rewritten. And that's the biggest thing that I think that most people see, that you've got the blockchain. And I really foresee a lot more companies use a blockchain platform going forward.
I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think the blockchain technology is going to drive it more than the actual coins and stuff.
Absolutely.
When it's all said and done.
And I just think it's going to take the right people to figure out how to put it in, to use for multiple businesses. Because I think that it's absolutely amazing the way it works. And most people don't understand it, but if you kind of dig into it, it's really pretty neat.
Yeah.
Still got a little crypto kind of playing in that, but just getting in, getting out, not trying to hang on to coins, like just trying to, hit it big. Like
you use Coinbase?
Yeah. And I don't even use Coinbase Pro, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So you got to like constantly look at it and see what trades are at, but Pro is actually better. You can set, you used to be able to set markers on original Coinbase where it would either buy or sell. You can't do that. So now you have to like go to Pro, which kind of stinks, but it's all good. Like, it's just kind of, funny money anyways. It's just great if it hits.
Maybe
it doesn't, make a little $500 here and there.
So there's a podcast that I listen to called the Sauce Talk, and the guy's name's Adam Sosnick. Super cool dude. But he talks finance and stuff. And so probably like 6 or 7 months ago, he was talking about every single Friday he buys $2,500 worth of crypto.
Okay.
And he just splits it up into random things. And he was talking about how all his buddies and stuff give him crap because they'll be like, "Oh, hey, that coin you bought, it's gone down." And he's like, the thing is with crypto is if just one of them takes off, it's completely irrelevant.
Absolutely.
Like the rest of them.
Absolutely.
And a majority of them are going to go down.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I started, and again, this is probably 6 months ago, I buy 1,000 coins every Friday.
Nice. Doesn't matter what.
Doesn't matter what.
You just find something that you
I
like.
just find something that's
random?
new. No, 100% random.
Okay.
I do it on Coinbase, whatever's new that week. So
which could, 1,000 coins could be really
dude, sometimes
$20.
Sometimes it'll be $3 Sometimes it'll be $37. Sometimes it might be $100. Now every one of them pretty much is where it's at or whatnot. But I bought one of them. I got in at 12 cents and it's now at like $4.90 something cents. It's consistently at like $5. And the crazy thing is I bought it on that Friday.
Mana?
Yeah. And then on Sundays when it made that huge
Mana's
spike,
awesome.
it was like, yay.
Yeah.
And so like at this point, it's like, I don't care if the rest of them really go to zero on it. Like, I mean, I'm 100-fold my money.
No,
or whatever
that's
it
a
is.
good one. My buddy Kyle's been trying to hit me up to get Mana for a long time. But I knew that when it jumped a bunch.
Well, and the thing that's funny is that is the only one that I actually put thought into buying. Yeah. And the sole reason I did it is because it's called the Decentraland coin.
Yeah.
And like in the description, it's like, for those of you who want to decentralize the government. And so I was like,
yeah, I love this. Yeah.
And so then I bought it. I was like,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I think the theory is great. I mean, and they're going to try to make it harder and harder for us.
For sure.
I mean, that's their main goal. They're going to try to tax it. They're going to try to figure out a way to cut it out.
Well, other than El Salvador, like no government likes crypto.
No.
But El Salvador is buying every Bitcoin dip there is.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're 100 million plus in Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, I mean, and some of them are going to be bigger than that. I mean, they're thinking, like even like Ethereum, it's going to master.
I got a little bit of Ethereum, but it's since I got in, it's been range bound. It's like, well, great.
Yeah, it kind of just hangs out. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, especially with what you do, like you trade. Like, if you just kind of keep an eye on it, I mean, you really don't have to be that smart. You really just get in and just take like a month and look at what the coin does and watch the fluctuation and just get a spot where you feel comfortable. Like, if it's trading at, 20 cents and you've been seeing it consistently trade at 20 cents and all of a sudden it jumps down to 14 or 12, well, jump in, and then when it gets back up to 20, sell it, get out.
So now you said you do buy and sell it a bunch.
Well, that's the theory. It hasn't really worked out as well. So that's been my new take since I got back in. But I'm kind of stuck in a couple. So now, that's kind of the problem. Like you get stuck. Ripple. Well, I've had Ripple forever. I've had Ripple forever, but apparently Ripple is supposed to be, so they're in a huge lawsuit and that's I was reading stuff on the other day and it's going to be cleared up. It's like an SEC lawsuit. Yeah.
It's actually a pretty big deal. Like, if Ripple wins that lawsuit, it could be massive for all crypto across the board.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of people that are backing that.
Some people are saying, like, I had a buddy of mine tell me the other day that a friend of his bought $100,000 of Ripple. Wow. And he projects it'll go up 10,000%. Once they get a verdict on if they win that, if they win the lawsuit. So, and it's supposed to look pretty good for them. So I don't know. We'll see. So maybe I'll have some.
Have you done anything with NFTs?
No, I'm one of those I just haven't studied yet. I know old Gary Vaynerchuk is big on it, but he made a lot of money. But I've heard, who's I listen? The book that you gave me, it has the DJ Steve Aoki. Yeah, he said he made more money in NFTs than he's made like the last 5 years of doing DJ work. I don't know exactly what his NFT that he got into it. I just read that the other day and I was like, man, that's staggering. Yeah, apparently that's supposed to be really cool.
So I bought an NFT. Okay. I have one. And the only reason
it's going to Coinbase too, by the way.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. But the sole reason I bought it was the last time that crypto just bottomed. Yeah. I bought like 15 different coins. Just nice. I literally got on and bought damn near everyone I could. Yeah. And it all basically went back up to like the previous. It basically somewhat recovered from that huge crash and I dumped all of them. Yeah. And so I took the money from that and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy an NFT. And so I bought this NFT. I'm a diehard Kobe Bryant guy. Nice. And so I bought an NFT of a goat sitting there with a Kobe Bryant jersey on and these glasses. And
so you own a portion of the picture that's online, right?
It's technically, I guess I own the code of it.
Okay. But not the whole thing, right? You just own like a.
No, I own the whole thing.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, and they only made 2,000 of them. I have it listed for $1 million. Nice. And it's obviously not going to go there, but.
what's it worth? What'd you buy it for? What's
$50.
Okay. And so it's worth, and that's what you bought it for?
No, well, that's what I paid for. I don't even look at it because I put in a sell order for $1 million, and I'm like, one of these days, hopefully my phone rings. So I'm like, oh, sweet.
And then they made how many of them?
2,000 of them.
2,000.
I'll show it to you later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool, stupid picture. But,
yeah.
So, I definitely wouldn't have bought it had I not just done that little crypto goof off.
That's funny. How'd you buy it? Where'd you buy it through?
There's a website called OpenSea.
Okay.
And that's the #1 place to go to get NFTs.
Okay.
and
The
so then
Coinbase of NFTs, the Coinbase of
yeah.
NFTs.
and it's just a marketplace, and you just type in literally anything like Kansas City, and any NFT that's involved with Kansas City you can buy, and you can get on lists. And like so one of the lists I'm on is Ferrari.com. So if they come out with an NFT of a Ferrari, it'll send me an email to let me know.
They're probably really expensive though.
Oh, I'm sure they will be.
Yeah.
They don't have any out
Oh,
yet.
they don't.
So far, the only one, Aston Martin has a couple out. They're a couple $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
But Lamborghini's coming out with one for the new Countach that's coming out.
Okay.
It's a $3 million car, but they're coming out with, it's
Really?
pretty dope, dude. It's pretty sweet.
See the one I sent you today?
No.
Oh man, it was awesome.
But it's Lamborghini's coming out with a limited edition NFT for that new car coming out, and they haven't said how much it's going to be, but I'm sure it'll be pricey. But
I think the one I sent you today was like it's built on the same platform as the TDF.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you have to check it out. It's pretty cool.
Definitely look.
Yeah. So
But speaking of cars, how's your old man like his Corvette?
he likes it a lot. We're actually, he just called me today and said the Chevelle's almost done. So he's building the 71 Chevelle, ground up, complete frame off, rest. It's a pro touring, so
Nice.
Completely.
What did you end up
restored.
with the horsepower?
I think we ended up at like 650.
Woo.
Yeah. So to the
Now, if you
wheels.
need somebody to drive that,
I'll
let
bring
you
it over,
boy.
dude. Yeah, I'll bring it over. We'll check it out. Yeah. So it's going into paint, I think, this week. So
What color did you guys end up deciding? Cherry red? Wasn't that what you said?
no, it's like a charcoal.
Ooh,
charcoal
that'd be
gray.
pretty.
Yeah, with black racing stripes.
That'd be cool.
So he went with kind of the old school Krager wheels, and I'm
Mhm.
like trying to get him to drop it, get it, make it how the pro touring are now. But
Mhm.
he's like, I'm kind of old school. I want to keep it kind of the way it is. So I was like, no, it's totally fine. But yeah, no, it's gonna be really neat when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Now, is he driving his Corvette at all? Because
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
the last time I talked to
Little
you, he
bit.
had like 300 miles on.
Yeah,
Like,
I
what?
mean, he's got a 15 Z06 and it's got 8,700 miles or something. So
It's
he
crazy.
can hardly ever drive it. And we got a Z06 in order too, so that'd be pretty sweet.
Dude, have you been watching the stuff on that car?
Dude, it's crazy.
Ooh.
It's gonna be a monster.
It's insane,
It's gonna be a
dude.
monster. Well, you heard what's the guy that has the racing team? Hendrick bought the very first one. You see that? That was cool.
Yeah.
3 million.
Dude, he bought the first of the mid-engine Corvette, like your dad's.
Oh yeah.
And then he also bought the first of the Z06.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
He's
But
got more money.
he also has like debatably the #1 Chevy collection in the world.
Wow.
So he owns one of the Grand Sport, the original Grand Sports. They only made 5 of them.
Really?
Those are like a $12 million
What year
car.
would that have been? Like 50?
65-ish.
Okay.
But so he owned
Before Z06?
yeah. But it was just strictly a race car.
Wow.
It's awesome, but worth like 10, 12 million. They only made 5 of them. They only made one convertible one.
Dang.
He owns the convertible one and one of the other 4.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And then he's got like the very first ever Chevy Camaro, the first so his car collection is
Yanko stuff too.
He's got Yankos,
Yeah. They're coming
Cobos.
back out with more Yankos. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they're 700-800 horsepower.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be a cool little collector. But yeah, no, so he doesn't drive it much. I drive it some, but it's a great car though. I mean, it really is. It's night and day different than the 15. I mean, it just like remember Clark got his and he was like, I want to make that thing a daily driver, which we knew that wasn't gonna happen.
No, not a chance.
But dude, it could literally be a daily driver. Like the car drives like a Cadillac.
Dude, I drove it so when Dad had his, I drove it to the gym a couple times.
Yeah.
And now when he got it, it was in like December-ish.
Yeah.
So it was cold.
Yeah.
And I was breaking those tires loose.
Yeah.
Just straight out of line, not even full throttle.
Yeah.
And you're just breaking those tires loose.
Yeah.
But then as soon as those tires get warm, like just on the highway or whatever, no big deal.
No.
And it's like, dude, there's no way a car that's this fast should be this easy to drive.
You know what's kind of crazy about it too, though, is like I had a guy pull up next to me. I was in the Z06. I had Ash with me, so that totally cramped my style as far as hammering down. But he pulled up next to me, and I didn't really think he was in a race.
Mhm.
I was just like, whatever, just kind of going through the gears. Well, he takes off, and I hammered it, dude. We got up to probably 140, and it was all I could do, and I couldn't reel him in. And it was just a standard regular vet. And this car's got 150 more horsepower.
Yeah.
And it was literally all I could do. And I was not reeling them in. It's pretty impressive, dude, honestly.
Oh, it definitely is.
I mean, just with that,
And they look
it just
awesome.
hooks and grips, dude. It goes. Like there's no lag. It just right
takes
down the
off.
street. It's fun.
And they look
Really
like a
fun.
McLaren
Dude,
or a
they look
Ferrari.
awesome.
Like
Yeah, they look absolutely freaking
that car's really
awesome.
cool.
So yeah, no, that's so we'll have some cars in the garage here in the next
Have
few months.
you seen Nate's newest car?
I haven't.
He got that new ZL1 Camaro.
Did he?
Yeah.
Is it a bomb?
Yeah, dude. He got it and put a full exhaust on it.
Yeah.
I mean, straight like header back.
Yeah.
And
Loud.
Yeah, and
What color is it? White?
white, black interior,
White.
put some cool
Yeah.
rims on it, like charcoal blackish,
Yeah.
like a matte black rim. But right after he got his exhaust, we were hanging out and we were gonna go eat. And he's like, "Hey man, you want to drive my car to go eat?" I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to
Is
hear
it
it."
manual or is
Yeah,
it
no, it's paddles. But yeah, he's like, "Hey, you want to drive it so that way I can hear it from behind?" I was like, "Are you asking me if I want to drive your 700 plus
Yeah.
horsepower
Does it
Camaro?"
really have that much horsepower?
It's like 777 or something,
Oh, so he must
supercharged.
have got like a upgraded model or something.
Maybe it's 707. I know it's 700 minimum because he's told me that like
That's
100
awesome.
times. But
Yeah.
but oh, dude, it's so
Damn.
quick. It's kind of like the Corvette in the fact that it's so fast that you look down and you're like, "Oh, I'm doing 88 miles an hour."
Yeah.
Like,
in
you know,
second
and it's
gear.
so smooth. And yeah, those cars are really cool.
That's fun. That's a pretty car too. I really like the Camaro a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Have you seen
fun.
my whip?
The new one?
Yeah.
You get a new one?
Yeah,
The
dude.
Prius?
No, it's even newer.
What?
An 03 Hyundai Accent. Yes.
I love
Ballin',
it.
bro.
Yes.
Well, actually, you had the policy on it. It's the one with all that hail damage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Is that the one that Clark had out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
That
went
thing
out-
had to have like 1,000,000 miles by
Dude,
now.
it's crazy. It only has 40,000 miles on
Oh, so he didn't drive it that much
it.
out
No,
there.
dude, it's literally
it-
been sitting in a field for the last like 4 years.
No.
Yeah. But like it's hail damage, it's rusted.
Where'd the Prius go?
Sold.
Oh, sold
Yeah,
it.
and,
Just tired of hanging on to it.
Yeah, but it's but the Hyundai, it has no power anything, and all 4 hubcaps are off and they're all rusted.
And it's all beat to crap.
Yeah.
Hail. Clark's like, "What should I do with this?" And I'm like, "Turn it in, man." He's like, "Yeah, I'll get to that later." And I'm like, 4 years later, he's like, "You think I can turn that hail clamp?" I was like, "I don't think so, Clark."
Yeah, it's but what's funny is like, I mean, I'm getting like darn near 50 miles to the
Oh
gallon.
yeah.
I drive.
Is it a stick?
No,
No, automatic.
but I mean, I drive like 10 miles a day, if that, and I don't really care. And but there's been 2 times now that I've pulled out in front of somebody, and in any other car ever, it wouldn't have been an issue. But like, I'll pull out and then floor it, and I'm like, "Oh no!"
Come on.
People are like,
dude, the Prius is actually kind of sneaky fast.
"Dude, the Prius is significantly faster than this
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah, because
And,
I've got a hybrid and it's the same way. It's like this thing actually kind of gets a little bit.
yeah.
It's got a dual motor.
Dude, I've raced a ton of people with Teslas and stuff with that Prius, and I win every time.
No.
No,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, so I got that, and that's kind of funny. But
Yeah, that's
at,
cool.
at this point, it's like,
Hey, it's
I
a
don't really
free
care.
car.
It's a free
the
car.
difference.
Yeah, dad gave it to me. He's like, "Hey, if you want it, it's free. If anything's wrong with it,
Where's
it's
it
on
been
you."
sitting?
Out in New Mexico,
Just been sitting in New Mexico?
sitting in a parking lot at the airport.
Nobody said, I mean,
Nobody
nobody
did
busted
anything.
into it.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I know it's been out there forever. And he's just like, "What should I do with this car?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, man."
Yeah.
I figured he was
Yeah.
gone, long gone by now.
Well, and the thing that's funny about it, so my sister has an extra car right now because they got a company car and then they got a van for all the kids. And so they have Brooks Kia, and it's a very nice car. Yeah. And so Brooke calls me. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You're really driving that Hyundai?" I said, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" And she's like, "We all thought you were joking." She's like, come get my extra car." And I was like, "No, it's fine." She's like, "No, I'm telling you, it's embarrassing me that you're driving."
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't care."
Dude, that's the thing that I learned like a long time ago. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to drive. I mean, it's literally rolling on wheels and loss. I mean, you lose every time you start it up. So what's the difference if you drive $100,000 car or $1,000 car?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
That
just
being said, the second I
transportation.
can get a Ferrari, I'm going to.
Well, no, that's fine. But that's totally different.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna buy a Ferrari, probably not put 1,000,000 miles on it. It's probably gonna do or something. You know, these cars you drive every day, you just beat them up and they just lose value. So what's the point?
Yeah, dude. So the new Porsche GT3 that's out right now is literally like the hardest car you can find. I called Bob down in Springfield because I had a buddy that wanted one, and I told him, I said,
GT3 RS or just
"No, it's just the new GT3."
Okay.
Leno had it on his show.
Okay.
It's the hottest car there is right now.
really?
And oh, dude, Redline starts at 7,500 ish, goes all the way up to like 12,000 RPM. Only comes in a manual, full track suspension. I mean, this car is
Naturally
awesome.
aspirated 6.
Naturally
right?
aspirated.
Nice.
But so I called Bob. I said, "Hey, I got a buddy looking for one." And he's like, "Man, that is literally the hardest car in America to find right now."
Hmm.
And so if you price one out online and price it pretty well, it's about 180 grand. Bob told me they're going for 150 over list.
Damn.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I was just in
Yikes.
Puerto Rico a couple days ago. Dude passed me in one. First one I've gotten to see. Looks even cooler in person.
Oh, I bet.
Dude looks like he's our age. He's just,
So it's the newest generation, I
Mhm.
guess. Yeah, those are
Dude,
sweet.
it is
I think I've seen them
awesome.
and they are really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw one not on the internet or whatever, but yeah, no, those are super cool.
Yeah. I talked to Aristocrat I was like, hey, I want to get on the list just out of curiosity, you know.
Like, okay.
They told me they're getting 2 this year. There's 178 people on the list waiting for them.
No.
Yeah, it's like,
78.
yeah, that's not happening.
Those are awesome.
But-
What if they just can't build them? I mean, are they trying to drive the rate up?
Well,
Trying to drive
one, if they're trying to make it relatively a limited car, but
Okay.
2, they just don't have chips, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you
That
know, all
factory
that,
burnt
but-
down over in Japan or wherever it was.
yeah, Germany.
It was Germany.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But yeah, they're really cool. Oh yeah. The chip place was Japan.
Was
I thought
it?
you meant the Porsche.
Oh,
That's
no,
in
no.
Germany.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But-
The chip place got burnt down. I think it's in
Mhm.
Japan, but no, that's crazy, man. It's holding up a huge process of people trying to buy new cars. I mean, there's vehicles that are just literally sitting there waiting for a chip to be put on them.
Yeah.
And they're going to be
Yeah, like Ford
1 or 2 years old.
F-150s.
Yeah.
Like there's like a 4-year wait list for
Yeah,
chips or something.
And they're going to be
It's
old.
ridiculous.
So like when they get the chip, the car's going to be 3 years old. What do
Right.
you do with that?
Yeah.
You know, it's still a new car,
Mhm.
but they just want to be able to make the same money on it because it's not the newest model.
Well, so there's a guy at my gym that him and his wife wanted to get a new Highlander. And I almost told you this because of Ashley. But so they wanted to get a new Highlander. They ended up buying a what's the one below that? Or no. They wanted a 4Runner,
Okay.
but they ended up buying a Highlander
Mhm.
because they didn't have enough money for the 4Runner. And this was before the pandemic, chips and all that stuff started. So they buy the Highlander. And probably about a month or 2 ago, I see him pull up on a new 4Runner. And I was like, hey, bro, you got your 4Runner. Like, what happened to the Highlander? They got offered more money for their used Highlander than what a new 4Runner cost.
No,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. They bought it new 2 years ago. And he told me they sold it to Carvana, you know, that new dealership
Oh,
that's
yeah,
like downtown
yeah.
that spins or
Kinda
whatever.
cool, yeah.
Yeah. They sold it to that for 13,000 more than they paid for it.
Jeez.
And then they just took that money and went and got a 4Runner.
They're gonna sell it because it's just not out there.
Dude, there's
I mean,
nobody can
if
get
you got a
cars.
used vehicle, you're sitting pretty.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
why the Prius is gone.
Yeah. that makes
The
sense.
money that somebody's offering you for a
Yeah.
160,000 mile Prius is
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah,
Like,
that
yeah.
is silly. But dude, that's cool about having a Toyota. Like they run forever. You know, I mean, like forever. Oh yeah, I think ours has got 169,000 on it, and just right on down the road, man.
Mhm.
Never have to do anything to it. I mean, it's like Honda, same thing.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything to it. Just drive it.
Yeah, Dad sold his last Honda.
The
it's
19. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 years old
Yeah.
with like 271,000 miles. The only thing he ever had happen was he hit a curb, and then
Yeah.
so he had to have that fixed, and then just oil changes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no big
Yeah,
deal at all.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. So that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So no, but Ashley, I was just kind
Yeah.
of talking about Ashley. She's starting to do. She's been doing injections, so she does. As you can tell, I got a good forehead. Here.
Ooh, look
Yeah,
at that.
Botox. So I'm
Actually, I
getting my-
can't say now that you said that.
I'm getting my Botox on, so she's keeping me young.
Yeah.
But she's she's an injector. So she works for Luminaire
Okay.
right now. So she's doing she's one of their like main injectors. So she brings people in, does like HIFU, and she'll do like lip injection and foreheds and Botox.
Does she do anything with hormones, like testosterone? And that
So
kind of stuff?
working on some of she's going to work on some hormone replacement therapy, for like middle-aged women or guys want to do it, but not quite there yet. It's kind of a newer business, so she's just trying to get her feet wet. She's doing a bunch of traveling and training and trying to figure out how to do it. She did some PDO threads where it's like a non-surgical facelift.
Mhm.
She did it for my
That's
mom.
kinda
It was really cool. Yeah, you just basically pull your face up, and then it like kind of it basically just
You put like duct tape. then holds it
almost,
there?
yeah, almost like duct tape. I think it's more of like a painter's tape.
Yeah.
But no, you pull it up and it just stitches inside and it just hangs out in there. It's really cool. It's a couple grand, but it
But it makes you look way better. And
yeah, it
it's not
lasts
surgical.
for a year or so. So a little longer, probably a year and a half, 2 years. But yeah, so she's doing some really cool stuff. So we're excited about that. She really likes it.
Now she when she first found out I had a podcast, she hit me up and she was just saying, "Hey, proud of you," that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But she was telling me she ultimately wants to do like her own store,
Mhm.
or like own center.
Yeah,
Is that something that she's
that's
anywhere
something that
closer to, or-
that'd be a goal at some point. I think it's one of those where it's gonna take some time and some effort. She quit the hospital, so she's gonna work at the hospital anymore.
Yeah, she's been there forever,
Yeah,
hasn't she?
she just worked for Cineas since she was, I think she said 18. So she's been doing it a long time. It just got so corporate, man. And it got to the point where there was times where she'd leave the house at 5 o'clock in the morning and not get home till 3 o'clock the next morning.
Whew.
So she almost worked 24 hours. And it's like, first of all, I don't even know how it's legal, working
Right.
for a hospital, but I guess they can do it if you're willing to work that, they got to have you there. But, and then so she'd just be ruined for the next day. We had a couple miscarriages in there, and it's
Yeah.
like, God, man, like maybe this is really what's going on. Like you're just
Mhm.
overstressed.
Yeah, just
So,
overstressed.
and that's not a life to live. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I work 20 hours a week, if
If
I'm
that.
lucky, yeah. So, my time under tension is very small. I say that my phone's on all the time, and I answer emails all the morning and late at night. But
Yeah, I know if I text you on like a Monday, I'll hear by Friday.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, but I just got to the point where I make enough money where I just said, listen, that's in the life to live. It's not fair for me to work the hours that I work, and you're working 70 hours a week and making a quarter of what I make. It just didn't make any sense. So so I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her to kind of get out of that deal, and
Yeah.
she's been more involved with the kids, and
Yeah, how's she doing now? How are the kids?
Good.
Like, how's she doing outside of work? I mean, but
really good. It was a big step for her. It took some time to kind of, she's a worker,
Mhm.
she's the type of person, like, she's a worker bee. And, for her to really just get, let that go and just not be so consumed with being at a job, and, kind of letting me take over finance, which I've always had the finances, but just, let me support her, I guess is the better way to describe it. I think that took a little bit of time for her, but at the end of the day, it's just going to make her happier. So she can kind of chase some of her dreams and do some things that she wants to actually do in life. And that's what it's about. I mean, it's not really about the rat race. Yeah, go make money. It's great. But if it becomes where it's just sucks, and I think a lot of hospitals are seeing that. Like, people are getting out of the hospital business because they're killing them. Yeah. I mean, they're making them, there's crazy laws and crazy regulations and mandates and crap that doesn't even make any sense. Right. Nor, we could get into all the vaccine crap, but it's pointless. Like, why? Not even talking about natural immunity. It just drives me insane.
Taking vitamins, exercising, eating right.
Yeah, no, but don't live a healthy life. Let's just take a vaccine and it'll make it all better. Well, that's just BS. It's not true. It doesn't work, and it's proven to not work as well as everybody thinks. So, did you listen to the Peter Mccullough podcast?
Of course.
Unbelievable. Absolutely.
That Dr. Malone?
Yeah, I haven't listened to Malone yet, but the Mccullough one was unbelievable. Like, the dude was a wealth of knowledge and just brought it. I was like, holy cow, man, this is what's going on. But he's got lawsuits out of his ears. He's getting sued by everybody.
Everybody under the moon, man.
Hey, man, when you're right, they hate you. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. How's Jules and Outlaw doing?
Doing good. Got a new one on the way.
Yeah, I heard. Congrats. When's it gonna be here?
Middle of July.
Awesome.
Middle of July.
Yours, I'm assuming.
I hope.
Yeah.
Maybe
fingers crossed.
I'm not sure yet. I send contacts all the time, just jacking with him about stuff. But he got shoved in the fire quick. Having twins is brutal. Like, he got the twin bug, and so that's all his running days came to a quick halt. But no, all's good, man. I can't really complain. I did start something this year that I thought you might be interested in. So I kind of had it on my heart, like, for a while, that the past year I was like, no, I'm making good money, things are going well. Like, how can I kind of, I'm involved with the community, I'm doing things in the city. How can I give back more than what I'm doing?
So you're wanting to give me money?
Kind of.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, anytime.
Any amount you want, go for it.
I'm just gonna keep the refund though. I'm keeping the refund. So I had it on my heart. I went down to Texas and visited my brother-in-law that's down there, and he's a couple years younger than me, and he's super successful. So he owns a bank that's not a bank, but they do. So that he checks basically runs your DNA, runs your blood, and within your DNA will give you a profile of what drugs are compatible with your blood type. So cool. He does that in Texas, and they're actually opening one up here. And Ashley's going to work for him a couple days a week, and Heather's going to work for him, Ashley's twin. But they both got out of the hospital. But he's got several clinics down there. They're not called blood banks, but it's the same thing like Quest Diagnostic does. Okay. But like a little bit further research, so they go a little bit deeper. So they actually look at your DNA and decide what drugs are compatible, your DNA is compatible with. So pretty cool stuff. Super successful. At this point, probably a multimillionaire, and he's
still have his I8.
No.
Didn't he have a white I8 there for a while when I had mine?
I think so. Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah, there for a minute. But he sold it and he's got like the LC 500. Okay. Yeah, Lexus, which he didn't know how to drive. But anyway, so I went down there and I started talking to him, and I'm like, man, he lives in a $3 million house on the golf course, and it was just like, I just had it on my heart. And I'm like, man, I need to do something different. Like, he's like, dude, I'm telling you, you need to tithe. And I'm like, what do you mean tithe? And he's like, how much you give in the church? And we kind of talked about it, and I'm like, not that. Right. He's like, you need to give 10% back to the church. He's like, I'm telling you, it's changed my life. I watched it change several people that I've told to do change, it's changed their life. And I'm telling you, if you're not doing it, you got to do it. So I started January 1 tithing, and January 27th, I landed the largest insurance policy I've ever sold in my life.
That's cool.
So yeah, like literally instant gratification. And I was like, holy cow, where did this come from? Like usually it's like, you give, you don't, and I wasn't like doing it to try to get more money. It was just more like,
trying to buy your way into heaven.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I kind of had it on my heart. I was like, man, I need to give more money back to the church. Like they do so much with it. They have such a longer reach. Like I could sit here and have a full-time job trying to figure out how to donate money. And it's just too hard. So Ash and I both decided, we're like, listen, let's just lay it down. We'll just give it to God and let him figure it out. So January 1 started doing that. So it's been kind of a change in our, you think about it, like 10% of gross income is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a full-time job, especially with like rental property. Money trickles in all the time. So you're like, all right, this money comes in, I gotta give this, gotta give that. So it's been pretty cool. But I think the blessings that people are going to have overall is going to be amazing. So
have you seen just speaking of church, have you seen Journey's new church?
Yes, I did go by there. Yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Jeremy, neighbor, he built that.
I didn't know that.
He built that church. Yeah,
that's cool.
He did the addition too. Wait, did he build the church? I know he did the addition. He may not have built the church, but I know he did the addition and then the second addition.
That's cool.
Could be wrong about the building the church, but it's fairly new though.
Yeah, I mean, since like December.
Yeah,
into December.
Yeah, so he showed me that, and it turned out really cool. You guys added on like whole wing over there.
Dude.
Yeah, huge. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like the biggest thing that I kind of got out of is like it's not about it's where your heart's at the time. Like if you in there for a while, I kind of wrestled with it. I was like, man, crap, like how am I gonna be able to pay these bills? Like you've got bills coming up, and like he's like, just forget all that. You're gonna go through times where it's gonna be tough. You're gonna go through times where it's not gonna make sense, but don't give up. Continue to tithe. I promise you'll be worth it. Mm-hmm. So there I am. So a couple months into it, and it's been really good, man. So far, I'm hoping it'll really impact a lot of people.
Yeah,
so that's kind of
especially when you're making hundreds of millions. Like
dude,
that's a lot of money.
When you start breaking it down, it's like I mean, it's just 10%. Like it's 10%. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You give. God promises you, if you give me back my 10%, I'll protect the 90. So I'm excited about it. It'll be a really cool thing.
Yeah. How's the rest of the fam? How's your mom, dad?
Good. Yeah, everybody's going good. Just trying to get through all the the family stuff that all families go through. But when I lost my sister in 2019, it was kind of a rough patch for us. We went through
for sure.
All that, and just trying to pick up the pieces with the kids and her kids.
How are they doing?
They're doing really good. They got they got a lot going on. Just try to keep them busy, but I think it's just tough. It's hard to go through that. They're young. They were 10 and 5 at the time, and so trying to get past that. Mom's not there. That whole process, and the time that they did have wasn't really great because she was sick for 5 years.
For a long time.
Cora's life. She actually, the youngest one, she's 6 now, but she was the first person in recorded history to be pregnant and then at the same time have a glioblastoma. So those two things together, like there's no other person that had ever had it. They didn't know anybody else that had that. Which is, she was kind of her own case study, which is kind of crazy, but, just picking the pieces up from that where post, she passed in 2019. So, that's been, it's been a challenge, and you go through that, especially like with my parents,
for sure.
Watching them, especially my dad more than anything. My mom too, she deals with it so quite a bit, but my dad more than anything.
Your dad was super close to Jess.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying your mom wasn't.
No,
I
remember
your dad definitely was.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she worked for him for the last, 4 years, I think. So they went to lunch every day and just buddied around and palled around. And he always says that was the greatest thing I ever did was to have her come work for me. So I could see her every day, and spend time with her. But it's just it's a tough dynamic. You lose your faith, and it's not that you lose it, but you question.
For sure.
You're like, man, how did this happen? Like, what did I do? What did I deserve? And so being on the other side of the fence and trying to get past that and work past that has been cool. Mm-hmm. So, seeing that, God's there for you no matter what, man. Like it's life. Like you don't get out, and nobody gets out alive. We're all dying, no matter if it's today or 20 years from now or 30 years from now or whatever. But, so I get that, but it's just trying to, work through that with my folks. And
I think I told you this, but there was a guy that I followed on Twitter named John Borman,
Mhm.
and I really, really liked him. And he was always tweeting. And all of a sudden, he sent out a message. He's like, hey, I'm had a little something come up. I'm going to slow down on my tweets, but hope to talk to you guys soon.
Mhm.
And then it was like 3 months later, his wife tweeted out, she's like, hey, this is John's wife. Just want to let you know, he found out 3 months ago that he had what Jess had.
Oh, really?
And he passed away.
No kidding.
Yeah, 35, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, he only found out 3 months beforehand.
Man.
Like, because his wife did like a question and answer. She's like, hey, John was always an open book. So ask away,
Sure.
But yeah, he literally found out and didn't even make it 3 months. So
Yeah, she was
with
32.
your sister, multiple times having it. And
Yeah, so she was 32. She got it 5 years prior, and was clean for 5 years. And that's kind of the nature of that type of cancer, though. If you get extracted in the beginning, it'll go away, but it never really goes away. It just kind of hangs out in there, and then when it comes back, there's no stopping it.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the hardest part, like during that whole process, which is she was trapped in her own body. It was crazy, man. It was terrible to watch. I mean, she just the cancer would slowly start taking over the parts of her brain where it would lose motor function, and then she couldn't eat. And then when you can't eat and you can't swallow, like you can't live.
Right.
So she was trapped in that. So she was still cognizant the whole time, just couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
So that was a rough patch, but a lot of lessons out of that too.
Well, so one thing that's kind of nuts is, so right before I came here to do this, I was coaching at my gym, and I was telling everybody I got my first in-person podcast tonight. I'm stoked. And everybody was asking me about it. And one of the people in class goes, well, what's the thing that you're most excited about? And this is honest God truth. You can ask anybody in there. And I told him, I said, it's my buddy Dave. And I was like, I don't know if Dave understands like what an impact he's had on me, because I can't tell you how many times I've had a really, really bad day, or a really bad week, really bad month, whatever. And like, I have sat there and been like, look at how Double D did what he did. Like, the way you stayed with your faith, like, cause I'll have a really bad month and I'll start questioning faith or whatever.
Sure.
And it's like, at the end of the day, David Dale lost his sister, which whatever problem I'm having that day is not remotely close to that.
Right.
And it's like, every time I see David Dale, dude, you got to press on. And like, the impact that you've had on me, just
That's
being
awesome,
like,
man.
got to be like Dave. And, one thing that I'll say about Jess is, just what a person she was. I literally remember one time she was in the hospital and you texted me, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but it made a huge impact on me. But you texted me, it's about to be Jess on the phone. And I don't know if you'll remember this.
Yeah.
But so I read that and I was like, what do you mean it's about to be Jess on the phone? Double D doing whatever.
Yeah.
And my phone rang. And so I answered it, and it was Jess.
Mhm.
And I could barely understand her, but she's like, hey, DC, it was just on my heart. I wanted to see how your day's going. And I literally talked to her for maybe 5 minutes, and then she told me she was tired, and then we hung up. And I remember hanging up and being like, you know what, right now, because this was pretty close to before she passed.
Yeah.
But I was like,
I do remember that.
She is in a hospital bed right now.
Yeah.
Can barely do anything.
Right.
And she literally, and I've never talked to her on the phone in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've talked to her 100 times in person.
Yeah, sure.
But she called me and she was just like, hey, it was on my heart. I just wanted to see how your day's going, DC. And I'm like, what an unbelievable human being that in that situation is like, wonder how DC's doing,
Yeah.
But I was like, that summed up Jess. Like,
that's kind of how she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was just that type of person. It was just going through that whole process. She never really wanted to make decisions. It was all just like, hey, I'm putting it on you guys make the decision, which made it kind of hard on us. But man, we talked about it several times, and we're like, we never even really saw her like upset about it. Like, she never had a moment where and you could ask all of her friends, she never had a moment where she was like, man, this sucks. Like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do to deserve this? That never one time came out of her mouth. And you're just sitting back and you're like, is this person is this Superman? Like, how is this even possible? Like, I'd be a mess. I'd be broke down in the corner on every drug I could possibly get myself on. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be done. But she just powered through. It was just crazy, man. It was almost like, I don't know. It was like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it was. Yeah. So that's a cool story. I'm glad you shared that with me. I mean, I'd like to take credit for it, but that's really, I think, honestly, it's just God. That's how he works with people.
Yeah, that was just so cool. And I remember, like, after it happened, I called and told, like, my mom. I was like, Mom, guess what I just talked to on the phone?
Yeah.
Jess. And She's like, oh, well, how often do you talk to her? And I was like, I don't.
Never.
Like, it was just weird. But
Yeah.
she just said, just seeing how your day's going. I was
That's
like,
awesome. Man.
Jess, I think you got a trillion things to worry about more
Jeez.
than what my day's going.
It's funny, just getting that stuff off of her mind though, at the end of the day, was just
Okay.
kind of was really the big relief for her. She didn't want to talk about it. She didn't really want to,
Mhm.
be down and out. And her biggest motto is, it is what it is, like,
Yeah.
I'm here. What do you want me to do? Like if I get upset about it, I'm still here,
Yeah.
so
it's not gonna change anything.
doesn't change anything. So, but we did have the luxury of having 5 years of where she, we traveled, we did a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, you guys went down to like Florida and stuff.
Yeah, we rented a huge house down in Florida and all went to, hung out and just did a lot of really fun stuff and took her out. And kids were, she had Cora and Cora came out and she was good. And so, there's a lot of blessings that come on with that. But I'm telling you, man, it definitely was tough for a long time. I never, like I said, I never lost my faith, but I definitely questioned it.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just like, man, how did I get here? But then you kind of look at the bigger picture and you're just like, that's just, that's what we're put here for. Like, we struggle, like every day is a struggle, and it's all about how you can impact other lives to make it better, for somebody else. And I'm glad you shared that story, because I didn't really recognize that was going on, but I'm such a like half glass full type of person.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I live my life.
Yeah,
I don't let it get to me, because I just can't. I mean, if I do, then it consumes me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned a long time ago, I'm like, what's the point of looking at the negative side? If it goes negative, well, then I got to deal with that.
Right.
But if I stay positive and look at the positive side, maybe it stays positive.
There's been so many times where I've heard something goofy happens to you or whatever, and I'm just been like, man, I'd be pissed, and you're like, well, all right,
Yeah, it is what it is. Just roll with it.
Why does that not bother me?
I even think some people, like, it almost bothers at a certain point. It's like, dude, how the hell are you so optimistic?
Right.
And I'm just like, I just don't spend any time being negative, because it doesn't serve me at all. It gets me in a spot that I don't want to be. And I'm just like, if I can stay positive, for most people, when they call me, that's the last thing you want to hear, is when you call somebody in need that, like, like negative Nelly. So I just try to make a positive spin on it, man, because there's always good out of it. It depends on where your head's at.
Yeah.
So pretty cool
that
stuff.
does actually remind me, since you were talking about tithing, if you wanted to Venmo me that 5K.
Yeah, whenever you get a second. How about you Venmo me the 5K, and then we'll call it good. That's funny though.
Yeah, every now and then when you send me that, it'll be like
I know.
Venmo for like 3,500. Like, what?
It's usually 5K, and like,
Yeah.
Venmo you 5K at this point. See who does.
Yeah.
That's funny though.
Well, just because your phone keeps going off, there's 5 questions.
Okay.
Ask everybody.
Yep.
That you're not solving the world's problems by any
Nope.
means.
Okay.
But so first question: if you could eat dinner with any 5 people, dead, live, whatever, who would they be and why?
5 people, dead, live. So this would be an easy answer before I listened to him on Rogan's podcast. So I'm a huge Tool fan, and I would definitely have sat down and picked Maynard, from the lead singer of Tool, just because I think the way that he portrays his music and the depth of his lyrics, I feel like I don't know. They speak to me somehow. I don't really know how it does, but it does. So that's one person for sure.
Biden, 2.
Definitely would not do that at any point in time. Brandon, maybe, though, if he's available. Let's go, Brandon. I don't know. Is he out there? I'm talking about. No. So second person, I probably would say Musk, dude. I think he's, revolutionary, visionary.
He'd be at my table.
Dude, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think he's made more money than he could ever spend in 25 lifetimes, and he's just doing it to advance civilization at this point.
Do you see what he did yesterday?
Huh?
Donated $6 billion to world's hunger.
Did he?
Yeah.
Was that the one
in Tesla stock?
Was that the one that he said that he said something about that?
So one of the organizations said for $7 billion they could solve world hunger, and so he said, "Show me the taxes." Show me and I'll do it. Yesterday he donated $6 billion worth of Tesla stock to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see that. That's awesome. I'm glad you told me that. So that's definitely one. I don't know. I don't really have 5 total, I guess, maybe.
All right, Clark.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's kind of hard on the spot here. I'd like Jordan would be a good one. I like Jordan. I liked his interview. I thought he's a mental master. And so that would be one I'd like to probably sit down and chat with. Trump. I like Trump. I just think he's a cool guy. He'd be a cool
Yeah.
guy to sit down and chat with. You know, I believe like his whole America First visions is going to be revolutionary for years and years to come. So that would be one I'd definitely sit down with. You know, I got to meet Froning, and I thought,
That was
you know,
cool.
we
Yeah,
met Froning. That was
we met
cool. But I'd probably like to sit down and chat with him more, because I just, you know, he's another one that seems pretty cool, like a really cool guy to sit down and chat with, probably be friends with, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's my 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So question 2, got any favorite quotes or quotes you try to live by? Maybe
Quotes-
scripture in your case?
Quotes that I live by, or quotes I live by. Man, put me on the spot. Not so much, man. I mean, honestly, I think that you know, I think the one that my sister had is one I kind of adopted, and I really like, and I just it is what it is. I mean, I think if you just don't put yourself and make everything so important, and you just don't boil it down to where, you know, it consumes you, and you allow it to, you know, if it doesn't serve you, don't feed it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
You know, I think that's probably the biggest one that I've taken from her, and really just, I think that's the only way to really stay positive. Just kind of, you know, you ever seen what happens when you put water in a duck's back?
No.
Just rolls off.
Cool.
That's what you got to do, man. You're having trouble, let it roll off your shoulder. You know, you
like that.
can't control everything. So
I like that.
yeah.
All right. Question 3. Money is absolutely no object whatsoever.
Okay.
What is David Dale doing tomorrow? Perfect day for you.
Perfect day tomorrow. I'm getting everybody that I know, and I'm flying out, and we're going someplace warm.
Where you headed?
You know, probably at this point, I'm an American nationalist, man. I'm gonna go to Florida. I like America. I don't care, you know, I like what we do here. I don't need to go anyplace else. I'll go to Florida, someplace, Naples, you know.
What would you guys do? Sit on the
Miami.
beach, or what do you
Yeah,
do?
hang out. Just go do something fun. Fish. I like to fish.
Yeah.
I go do fun stuff. Go buy everybody's dinner. Go pay for everybody to do, you know, gamble, and just have, like, you know, 2 weeks of just ridiculous fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Okay. So question 4, if you could go back and talk to 18-year-old Dave, what are you telling him?
Ooh, 18-year-old Dave. Buy more property than what I did when I was 21. Yeah, for sure. Instead of worrying about trying to spend money on a Trans Am, I'd go buy more property.
You think a piece
That's
of
it.
dirt would be worth a little bit more than your Trans Am right now?
Yeah, Trans Am's gone. I don't even know where it's at. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd go back, and that's probably all I'd really change. I mean, I had a lot of fun in my 20s. I'll be honest with you. I had probably more fun than most people should. I felt like I probably lived a rock star life.
I went to Vegas with you a couple times, and that was fun.
Yeah, that turned out pretty good. I had a lot of fun in Vegas many times, but yeah, I probably just would have been more focused. I wasn't, you know, I know Gary's big about, you know, well, you don't have to worry about 20s. Like, you just do whatever you want. You don't have to start really working until you're 30, which is probably true. Like, if you don't want to burn out, but like, if you start young, man, you can really set yourself up.
Big time.
So I just didn't pay attention to that young enough. And that's probably what I would have done.
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk reminds me of Grant Cardone, since you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
I can listen to them for like 2 months, and then I got to take a couple months off.
Yeah.
I can only be told, dude, you're a piece of garbage,
right,
like 1,000 times before. I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Right.
I don't work 29 hours a day,
Yeah.
12 days a week.
Right.
I'm a loser. I get it.
Yeah.
You know?
I know, right.
But yeah, Gary V's always like,
But he's got
legacy
some
and
cool stuff
like
too. It's
oh,
like,
it definitely is.
You know, he shows up and like he just goes to random like garage sales and just knows what he's looking for. You know, tries to Jew people down. And I mean, he does cool stuff.
And speaking of that, and then we'll get to that last question. But I saw yesterday on the news. Did you see that person that bought that painting at the garage sale?
No.
Somebody bought a painting at a garage sale like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Paid $10 for it and took it to one of those antique road shows. Turns out it was made by somebody super famous. It got appraised at $10 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, I saw that on the
kidding.
news yesterday. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure that happens sometimes. That's what those
Oh, dude, you know
guys
that
do.
stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, probably happens with cars too. They're like, no, just sell that. Nobody wants that. And you're like, holy cow, what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right, last question.
Okay,
Then I'll let you get out of here. When it's all said and done, how do you want David Dale to be remembered?
I want to leave a legacy. So my biggest thing is I started saving for my kids when I was 18. So I started a fund. You know, I think it started out at the beginning. It was just like a Roth IRA.
Mm-hmm.
My mom kind of set it up for me, but I've been funding it since I was 18. So my goal is to be able to leave a mark on the earth and give back more than I've taken in. So my goal is to be able to be looked at as a philanthropist, You know, I guess you could call me a minor philanthropist at this point, but
You're donating time and money.
yeah,
More than
time,
most people
money,
are.
energy. I mean, I really try to focus on that. I feel like it's bigger than me. And, you know, at the end of the day, just, you know, be a positive mouthpiece for the kingdom. I mean, that's honestly like not trying to be corny, not trying to be weird. Like, I think that, you know, we are 100% in a spiritual warfare with good and evil. And, you know, I want to try to be on the right side. So I want to leave a legacy of somebody that gave back more than he took in.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like it.
Sweet.
Well, thanks again for doing this, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Glad to
And,
do it.
always a
Thanks,
good
brother.
time.
Yeah. Love you, man.
All right. Love you too.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
Oh man, I forgot to start it.